Hey, it's live. Forgot to put forgot to put my Facebook on the other computer. Oh well. um, I usually share it to my personal page. This also gives a few minutes for people to kind of see the notification that I'm live and come in.
Great.
Um, I mean, hopefully, anyways.
Yeah, can always catch them on YouTube later.
Exactly. Either YouTube or on my Facebook. I have a whole big playlist of them going.
Nice. How long you been doing this?
Oh, a couple months now.
Oh, really? Okay. And you got 1,000 followers after a couple months?
Oh, the videos a couple months.
Oh,
1,000 followers for the last couple years.
that's good. That's pretty good.
hmm Um, I actually had a big jump the last couple months getting all this going. Um, I went. I've probably grown good 400 or 500 in the
And
last year. Bro, the
do you do you,
last 5 months.
do you pick like? I mean, do you talk to anybody in the music world, or do you have like a certain style of music you go for? Does it matter to you?
Music's music, and location is irrelevant. That word. Um, so, like, as we get started, we'll find out where you're at. You already said Ohio, so
Yeah.
little spoiler there. So you know whatever kind of music you do, the location, none of that matters. Whatever you do within the music industry, that doesn't matter. As long as you're you know part of the local music family,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just to help you grow, help you succeed, and maybe even be a better person, yourself, being able to, come in and watch some of these other interviews and see some of the, hear some of the things that they've talked about and some of the suggestions given and stuff like that, like, hey, maybe I could try something like that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Then,
Definitely need that in the on this level of things for sure.
oh yeah, people helping each other out.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I like it.
We're a family.
Yeah. I like that.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, I guess let's get this thing started. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in. I'm Ozzy, St. Anger Productions. Today we have Casey with Electrocult Circus.
Got it.
Casey, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. It's a nice day out here. How you doing?
Oh, it's a nice day in my bedroom, or my office, I should say.
Yeah, I like it.
Um, so yeah, doing pretty good. So I fully support local entertainment. However, local is not limited to just Tonkawa, Tulsa, Ohio, or wherever. Local can literally be anywhere you're located. Local is your scene, your location. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, Casey, tell me a little bit about what local means to you. What is your location, and describe the local entertainment scene for us?
Yeah, local. It's all the people, it's open to anybody really, It's like if you have enough courage and faith in yourself to get up in front of some people and play guitar, I mean, hell, you don't even have to do that, Some people just make music in their bedrooms and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm always all about fostering that kind of situation and I like that. I always root for the underdog. That's always been my thing. I like seeing the under. No one wants to go see the guy that's been winning the whole time keep winning. It's like that's boring. You want to see the guys that have been getting held down win. That's what I want to see if they deserve it, as long as they're not bastards or whatever. But if they're the good guys being held down, right, which is
Yes.
a lot of the world. Um, yeah, that's kind of it. I think it's just coming up because you know that it's coming from a good place if it's local. Most generally, it's coming from salt of the earth types,
Oh yeah.
and that's
And
why.
I know the ones around here in Oklahoma are generally, pretty good. Pretty good, strong knit community. If you go through and listen to a lot of these other interviews, that's what they say is that it's a community around here. It really is.
Yeah, and
And so, what did you say your actual location was?
I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Currently, I've been parts of different scenes around the country, but I've never gotten that big break. But that's most of us out here. Um, I don't even know what the big break is anymore. What's the big break? Getting a TikTok video or something? What's the big break now? Getting a record company? They still doing that? Record record contracts out there? Is that a thing?
I think typically, from what I've seen, they've been looking after those TikTokers. Though
Yeah,
they're letting these big record labels are waiting for you to blow up on TikTok, and then you've already done all the work. Come here, we'll sign you.
right.
We'll take half your rights away, your firstborn, and maybe your lastborn.
Yeah, yeah. Let's make some weird song about your butt or something, and it's like, I know, it's kind of humiliating. We've thought about it. We've thought about like making a couple stupid songs. I mean, I like some music that's like, I mean, Frank Zappa made a lot of goofy songs, but they still had musicality to them that was good. I respect Frank Zappa. I don't know if you're a Frank Zappa fan. Do you like Frank Zappa?
Yeah, Frank's pretty good.
Yeah. What
Mhm.
what kind of music do you like? What's your personal favorite?
Yes.
The band, yes.
Uh, just music.
Oh,
I
oh
grew
yeah,
up play. I grew up playing jazz in high school band. Um, Grew up in a Christian home, listening to Christian rock, Christian metal, and then joined the alternate side. I don't know, I was probably around 19 with hearing the song "Hot for Teacher" from Van Halen. Kind of started falling in love with more of the rock scene, and then the last couple of years picking up country and some of the hip hop and stuff like that. Going back to some of the '90s R&B stuff.
yeah. Are you more of a David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar guy? Tough one.
My question. It is. It really is. You know, they're both good in their own ways.
Right,
They
right.
both they both brought something to the table. It's kind of like um, with Metallica, you have Jason, and then you had Rob. They're
Yeah,
both good in their own rights. They both bring things to the table. Um,
yeah. That's fair. Even the
mhm.
guy that got kicked out of that band, something now. Which one's that?
Oh yeah, Dave Mustaine.
Dave Mustaine. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Megadeth. That's
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's all, it's interesting what draws different people to different things. It's like yeah, I was not, I'm still a skinny, dorky guy, but I was very much like that in the '90s. So it took Nirvana to come along and some of these kind of nerdier bands to where I felt I had to go back and find the Beatles really because I was like, I don't think I can, I'm not really a Harley riding, going to strip clubs kind of guy. I was 16, so I couldn't relate to that necessarily. And though I respect Motley Crue and all these bands, they just didn't see where I could ever do that. And then, like Nirvana and the Pixies and some more weirder bands came along, and I started going, oh, that might be something I could do. Maybe a girl will actually talk to me finally. So it's,
Mhm.
but that's kind of what got me on the path. Then I was like, bringing up spirituality, like now it's way deeper than that for me at this point. It is very much like a church to me or a community or something way more spiritual to me at this point. But in the beginning, it was really the old story of just, wanting to get some attention from the opposite sex. So that was, yeah, it's been,
You're getting a little too far away from the house.
oh yeah, yeah, there we go. Let me get back here. Maybe I can go back around. Try and go back around. Hope it's not clipping out too much for you.
Yeah, you're doing okay.
All right.
Yeah, put you on his little leash.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully these dogs back out of this again. But anyways, yeah.
I just want to say hi to everybody.
Hey, hey there.
Yeah, I'm here.
We got people watching this thing.
Um, One that is showing.
A lot of headliner bands started local before they got big. That's true. That is very true. I mean, I think
Hmm.
everyone. I mean, I guess you don't have to start local. Some bands kind of start just gosh, I guess some bands did they start with the record label? I guess that happens, right? You just get signed right away, huh? I know a few bands like that.
I know it's not something I follow big, but I mean, there's a number of different ways to be big.
Yeah,
Like we discussed, the TikTok and stuff like that. Just putting in the effort. A lot
I
of
think
it is.
that's you got to build a community. I think you can't escape the building the community because even if you get somewhere, it's like you got to have something that you got to know how to connect to people somehow, right?
Oh yeah, you got to make those followers. Metallica didn't go from, you know, the garage band back in 1980s to selling out arenas by not creating a following.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And I see people that have maybe like a lot of followers, but they don't really play. They don't get people to come to the shows. And then I see people that get a lot of people coming to the shows, but they don't have a lot of followers online. So it's always weird with that too. It's not always consistent. I think people have
Mm-hmm.
gotten obsessed with the numbers. It's like they start doing it for the wrong reasons. That's always kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm. What's your reason?
Um, to find something beyond, it's kind of heavy, I guess, but it's something I get bored of regular reality. I've always been a searching, curious kind of person, and I do not really accept what standard reality has to offer human beings. I think there's much more to this, and I think we have a lot more potential. And music's always been a way of reaching that, or expressing that, or finding other layers. There's other things I've done as well. I don't know if you want to get into those things, but there's things I've experienced and done that has shown me there are other layers beyond what we're being seen and what we're always being shown.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all about like Jim Morrison, man, breaking on through to the other side. That's really my thing. I really do follow that guy because he showed me what you could be, if you just step out there. Some people aren't big Jim Morrison fans. My wife is not one, but I think Jim Morrison's great. What do you think of the Doors? Are you a Doors fan?
Doors has some good music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big Jim Morrison fan though.
I mean, he's part of the Doors.
Yeah, he's a complicated character. You either love him or hate him. He's one of those guys. You either
And
love
I'm
him
not
or
much of a hater.
yeah, that's good of you. I like interviewing you too. See, I used to do a talk show. I'm a curious person, so that's why I'm gonna ask questions because it takes the focus off me as well, and so it's the less pressure.
How does that go from The Simpsons, a little kid on the bus? I'm in trouble.
Say that again.
The little kid on the bus on The Simpsons. I'm in trouble.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm in trouble. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what's that character. I haven't watched The Simpsons.
Crap.
It's been a bit.
Yeah. I don't remember his name,
Neither.
but get how I feel now. Oh, this got to be interesting then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So, how far is your reach, would you say? And then how far are you willing to take your music?
Man, I would love as many people to hear it as possible. And I don't really know the reach because it's tricky nowadays because you've got TikTok, you've got YouTube, you've got Spotify, you got all the other playlists, you got Facebook, you got just all kinds of things. And nowadays when you upload an album, it gets kind of scattered out. So in the long run, you may be getting 20 listens here, 30 listens here, 100 listens here. Maybe this takes off. So we're always doing that kind of scatter thing where it's like, let's just put it out on all the platforms, and I'm hoping that it reaches people. I would really like to travel further than we are traveling right now, but since the pandemic, and my wife's in the band too. She's the lead singer or one of the lead singers, but she and I have children, and we recently had a daughter, so that slowed us down. We still tour a lot, we play a lot, but we don't get as far out as we go. Like right now, the farthest out we're going is like we have a show in Atlanta in like next month. It's for like a punk festival kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
but I want more of that as I get even older. because I don't know what else. There's nothing else I really want to do. You know, I'm probably not going to become a doctor anytime soon. So, um, what else is there? You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we'll have to work together on getting you to Tulsa sometime.
Sure, man. Tulsa. What's the scene like there?
It's jam packed of a lot of rock.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Hmm. Yeah, in fact, I just went to a show last night. Some local friends of mine, and even some new ones that I've got to make. It's just they killed it last night. Um, Crowd wasn't huge, but the crowd was energetic.
Yeah.
Uh, that's one thing about it is that here in Oklahoma, it doesn't matter how big or how small the crowd is. You're gonna have those people that's just they're putting in energy from start to finish, 100%, regardless of back there behind them.
Yeah. That's the way it's got to be. I mean, you got to do it that way. We played a show last night too that was, it was underwhelming as well. It wasn't the dream, as you would say. But you keep going on enough of these. That's how we get our name out, though. Is you get enough going, and then you start getting better offers. You start finding the guy who's got a brother who puts on a festival, and then you ended up playing in front of a couple thousand people, and you're like, oh, that all happened because I played these three crappy shows, right? Or the three that seemed like they weren't
Mm-hmm.
going to be. It's all word of mouth, and it really does happen. I mean, I've seen bands go up and down. I'm sure as you have, up and down, up and down. You see them. It's interesting. It's a real interesting. It's one of the places you still have a chance at something magical happening. I think, and that's why I love art and magic and music and all that stuff. I just think it's a cool way to tap into things and get out of the momentum or the momentum. The what's the word I'm looking for? The humdrum. The you know mediocrity and all that stuff.
Yes. You know, when it comes to these small shows, it doesn't matter if it's five people or if it's 500 people. When things like I was thinking last night, it's been discussed on here multiple times, but I was thinking about it last night because I was in that situation that you never know who's in the crowd watching you.
Yeah,
And last night it happened to be Saint Anger Productions. You know, they're networking.
yeah,
And if they were to get up there on stage and be asses or just be shit faced drunk and causing problems, or
yeah,
you don't see them out in the crowd. They're you know back in the back and just hanging out back there blowing smoke and waiting for their time on stage and then leaving. I would, if I can't come out and talk to you, why
yeah.
book you for my show? You
Exactly.
know, so
Do you
that's
do
uh,
other? So do you do these interviews? Do you have other things you do besides the interviews? Do you do like any like do you write any reviews or anything like that, or is it just mainly the interviews?
I actually wrote one review, and that was for the Bowman Twin Event Center. Like a day or two or three after the concert that I did there. Um, wrote out a nice big old review. It's on my page. If you scroll back down to February, um, wrote a nice, decent review, and I just lined it out. It was several paragraphs, but just
Yeah,
being honest about it.
yeah,
Um, and making it more of a advertisement than a review.
yeah. That's cool.
Hmm.
You happy with it?
Oh yeah.
Good. We had a guy around here named John Petrick who was really known for being the meanest interviewer. Man, he was. That's how he got his name. Is just he would just rip you apart if he didn't like you, and it was, it was strange, but it was kind of like almost a cool thing to get ripped apart by him. Music, Mika Walker. Is that Mika Walker?
Hmm.
Music, beginning of time. That's right. It's music's the vibration of everything. Really, if you if you really get deep on it, man, everything's a vibration. Music is like just a way to tap into that, and it's mystical. I love it. It's like proof that there's more out here than we know and can see. You know?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
So let me. This is where we start really getting into some of the personal details. How did you get into music, and what instrument or instruments do you play?
Uh, I can't really tell when I first got into music because, like Mika just said, it's kind. I think it's just in us. You know, even like my daughter wasn't told to dance; she just started dancing, singing little songs. You know, so but when I decided, because I would always make art, I'd always draw pictures. I made little movies, but I guess when I decided I wanted to be a rock star or something, was when the Beatles. You know, of course, I went through the Beatles, David Bowie. The skinny weird ones was the one that got to me because I was like, oh, you know, I can maybe pull that off possibly. Um, and at least I got to meet my wife through it. You know, that worked at least that much. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I play guitar. I write most of the songs. We try and do a very diverse like catalog of music. I'm really into like the Beatles. I mean, even though they're really famous, you forget how different their songs were. I mean, like I Want to Hold Your Hand sounds completely different than Helter Skelter. I mean, it could be a different band almost. And that's what I always really liked. And I have a band I really like called Ween, who are a pretty big festival band. They're weird. I don't know if you've heard of them, but not everyone's heard of them. But they make very diverse, strange songs. So we're kind of in that. We're kind of in that category of just eclectic, extremely variety. We try and do all styles, as long as it's authentic. We still want it to be a good song. That's the thing. But we try and scrap them when they don't work. But you know, it's also. I think I answered the question for you. I think that's it.
Yeah, sounds pretty decent. So then, what is your musical background like? From the time you picked up your guitar to what got you here? You know, describe some of that journey for us.
Okay. Well, I'm from Defiance, Ohio, which isn't far away, but then I ended up moving to Seattle after the big boom, the big Seattle boom. Nothing really took off there. I moved to New Orleans. It was harder to get into places that were already established. I'll tell you that. That was the hard thing because everyone was fighting for that, you know? So I never had the greatest like musical experiences there, you know, because even North Carolina had a pretty good scene, but somehow Columbus has been the scene that it's been best for us so far. I'm actually really obsessed with Columbus scenes and or not Columbus scenes, but music scenes in general. I think it's a really interesting just atmosphere. Just you know, it's where just you know, it's a real shame what's happening with a lot of the places closing down, and I don't think that's a mistake. I think there are not to get too conspiracy theory on you, but I think there's definitely forces that want to slow down the progress of music because I think music has been a great voice for the people. And as you see through history, it's the thing that can rile people up and give us our power. And you've noticed it's systematically always being unfunded and taken apart. So it's really up to people to always pick up the flag again and fighting. I don't even care what your political beliefs are because everything is coming from the same source. It's the rich against the poor, as I've always seen it, the haves against the have-nots. And like I said, I love the underdog. So and I am an underdog. So you gotta stand for yourself, man. Now we got
Yep.
robots. What are we gonna do about these robots? Huh?
AI music.
We don't need that. Let's connect as humans. Like we still haven't even connected as humans. I mean, what's it been since the '60s? We've had even that was rough. I mean, have we ever had we've had great music. That's the thing. The scenes are the little musical revolutions you get, but they always get stamped out or everyone dies from drugs or something and it just, you know, it gets kind of forgotten and it moves to another place. But right now the good thing is there are a lot of musical scenes. You know, there's not one taken over like it used to be,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like there's so many of them and I hope they all just kind of explode at once. That's my hope. Me and my wife also do a show called Lunar Transmissions where we'll do some cross promotion here and
Okay.
we do it's like old style MTV. It's like I don't know if you remember 120 minutes that show, but I'd stay up late at night on a Friday night and just watch the bands on 120 minutes. Um, because I didn't have a girlfriend or anything. So that was my fun. I wasn't cool enough to go to the parties, so and then we had to start making our own parties, and then it got cool. But during those dark years, it was I was watching MTV, and me and my wife uh, have our own show like that. And so if any of your artists from there want to send us videos, we'll play you. Just like you, we don't
Mm-hmm.
care. If you have heart and you're into it, we'll put
Mm-hmm.
your video on. So that's why I love scenes. We want to actually take it on the road and go and travel to different cities and meet bands and try and uh, do little like maybe a YouTube show that way. But got to get these kids to grow up a bit more, I think.
I was gonna say, let me get my bus fixed up and livable, and I'll go to Ohio, pick you up, and we'll start traveling and
Why
you
not?
know, go make some connections all across the country.
Doesn't that sound fun?
Oh, it does. It does sound fun.
That's the
Crap, we're,
adventure. For
we're gonna
that's
have to
what.
sell a lot of merch so we can sell buy fuel.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you never know, man. If you never know what kind of forces will meet you if you reach out. It might take off, or we'd fail miserably, but might have to end up living in the bus. Who knows? Either way, it'll be a story. I'll tell you what.
I had a evil thought. Instead of the movie Wedding Crashers, we have our own YouTube series, Concert Crashers.
Oh, that'd be cool. If you could get someone like Iggy Pop to come along, because I don't think he's doing much, and just get a name attached to that, like someone that's relatively. Hell, we'll get David Lee Roth. What's he doing? Say, bring him in the bus, and then that will be some star power. Then maybe he's got some funding for us. This isn't a bad idea. This is not a bad
Mhm.
idea. I'm
I've got really good personal connections with it's a hot dog from Rocklahoma. Rocklahoma's hot dog, crowd surfing, moshing, um, friendly, super friendly hot dog that happens to love music and love concerts. So I mean, bring the hot dog along with us, and
Is
that
he a big deal? Is he a pretty big deal?
there's a lot of people who like the hot dog.
Yeah, I
That
want to
that
know. I like this hot dog. What's up with this hot dog?
hot dogs living in my bus right now.
Really?
It's living in storage.
Oh, that's cool. We're all
I'm
about.
also I'm also Rocklahoma's hot dog. So
Oh, you are? Oh, I love that. See, you're like us. To get people to listen to our music, I've worn robot suits, and we have belly dancers and things in our band.
really,
Yeah, we get out there. We try to be pretty. We got to be kind of a spectacle anymore. Well, once we started doing it, it started growing, and then now we have to live up to it. So I'll be honest, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass at this point. I kind of just being in a four-guy band, like just playing some rock tunes. That's easier. So once you start adding all the whistles and bells, you can't stop, and then it becomes an
mm-mm.
addiction. I feel like this is probably what Guar went through. They're way more successful, but they once they started spraying people with the blood and all that, I think they were like, we can't stop. We got to up ourselves one up ourselves every time. It
that's
gets
what
to be,
that's what they expect.
yeah, that's
Uh,
kind of where we're getting to. It's like, got to just keep one upping ourselves.
That one show you don't show up with the dancers,
Yeah.
and you got a lot of haters. Like, why? Where were they?
Yeah. Yeah. That's for real. We try to make it a different show every time. So, if we don't have as many dancers, maybe we have really good video or costumes going on. Like we're trying to just make it to where every time you come to a show, honestly, we are a band, but sometimes I think of us more like a variety show. And I feel like Lauren Michaels SNL because I've been here the whole time. Oh, does that sound too loud to you? This air conditioner?
No, I just heard it kick on, and I can hear the faint buzz. So you're
All right,
good.
all right, good. Um, yeah, it's I've been in a lot of different types of. Have you been in a lot of bands?
High school band. Then there was at the end of my high school time, there was a little Christian band that I was invited into. Short lived, and then I did a little bit of work this last year and a half with one of my friends for a little while. Um, going in for some drums,
Oh, you play
helping with some
drums?
creativeness for him. I play drums. I'm a drummer.
Oh, that's great. I'll tell you what, that is the main thing. I think this is true with every scene. We always need live drummers. That's been the Spinal Tap thing for us. It's been so hard to keep the drummer. You know, we go through about a drummer every year, maybe two sometimes.
Wow.
I have like three backup guys. We don't really even have an official drummer because we sort of have a guy now that I think is our drummer, but he's in, and all of them are in three different bands, four different bands, and it's kind of hard.
That's kind of stereotypical for drummers, though.
Yeah, yeah. You guys have the most instruments, and you do the most work. I would say. I mean, you're the ones up there doing the most work for sure.
And to really make it better, I fall into the same stereotypical crap. We also become sound technicians.
Yeah,
I'm an owner operator. I got my own sound equipment.
yeah. That's true of the guy we're working with now. Shout out to Jesse. Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, so yeah, stereotypical.
Yeah,
We don't have enough stuff. Let's buy more,
yeah,
more expensive equipment.
yeah. Definitely.
What was I thinking? That'd make a good song. What was I thinking?
Yeah, it's a good
Maybe
chorus.
put a bit of a country twist to it, you know?
What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Do, 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 do. Yeah. What kind of country? Like I like outlaw country the best. I like Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson kind of stuff. The Highwaymen, Hank
Um,
Williams. Yeah.
I mean, they're okay, but I also do things like Zach,
Oh,
was it something in the orange?
Zach.
Zach,
Is it
Zach Bryan, I think,
Zach?
or is that?
I don't know a lot of the newer guys. I haven't. I hear them and I don't mind them. There's one guy, Zach Bryan. Is he the bigger guy with the beard? Kind of sweaty.
I
Yeah.
don't
I don't know.
remember.
I don't know either.
Chase Atkins is another one. He's got that really deep voice, if I remember correctly, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah. I think he might.
Or no, who's the one that locked the doors and turned the lights down low?
No.
Baby, lock them doors and turn your lights. That
No.
guy, he's
I don't,
got a voice.
that one. I don't know that one.
um, I'm horrible with names and titles and stuff like that. But
Me too. Me too.
then again, I also have memory issues, like remembering interviews and stuff.
That's all right. You know, at least you got them. You got them all archived.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, so how do you see the future in your musical career?
Depends on what these robots do. You know.
We've got to destroy the robots as
No.
we play some 3 Days Grace. I don't, no, we're not going to incite any kind of. Nope, we're not doing that. But you know the song.
Yeah. Right. For sure. Yeah. I don't know 100% what's going to happen, but that's part of the fun. If I'm still healthy and alive, going each year, you know, knock on wood, I will just continue bringing my weird merry pranksters and friends. Maybe meet up with you, get in a bus. I'm really about traveling right now. I want to travel, watch this whole thing go down. Whatever's happening in this crazy country right now, try and influence things for the betterment of mankind. Try and inspire people and help the children get off the iPads a little bit more, and maybe make some physical art and connect in real time like we used to as kids. You know,
Mhm.
there's a lot of little missions that I've learned as I get older. And then I sometimes just want to sit back here in my backyard, listen to music, and have a nice drink. That's what I really want to be doing most of the time. But I'm gonna keep writing music, making videos, meeting new people to make music and videos with. Um, Maybe wear a robot costume or two, or get a new robot costume. Maybe put on a hot dog costume. I don't know. That's not.
You,
Is it hot in that hot dog costume?
oh, I tell them straight up when they ask me that question. I feel like boiling hot dog water.
Yeah, yeah. And they always want you to come out in the summertime, don't they?
Labor Day weekend for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I've
Oklahoma sun, yeah.
you got to stay hydrated. I had that. I don't even know if I could. I haven't done the robot suit for a while, but there's a local community festival here called Comfest, which is pretty big. We do
Mhm.
it every year, but I would go around in the robot suit just to early in the early days to drum up. Now people kind of know who we are, but at the time it was a way to we'd play music out of it and have a little video screen. It was neat. I mean, honestly, people treated me like I was a celebrity when I was wearing the robot suit. If you took the head off, nobody cared. Once they saw my face, they didn't care. But in the
Yeah.
robot suit, I'm telling you, it was. I have pictures. It was mayhem. You'd have lines of people lining up to take pictures with me. I should probably do it again, see what happens. But I would get so dehydrated. Yeah, I would be dying. I mean, I'm surprised I did not die of heat stroke for sure. For sure.
Yeah. I've actually had security bring me water.
Yeah.
Of course, I've gone from just 20 foot take me 30, 40 minutes just to travel.
Yeah.
People stop. Hey, can we take this? Yeah, come on. And of course, I've also learned, doing things like that. You becoming known, being in the public, you have to watch what you do. Like I was talking about earlier, being the one, where I was the one there to network. And,
Yeah.
you have to watch what you do. You never know who's watching. Same goes when I put that hot dog suit on, or you put that robot suit on, or, the Christmas tree, or Grinch, or Santa
Mm-hmm.
Claus, or Spider Man, whoever, it doesn't matter. You start putting those costumes on and going to these festivals. You've got to watch your P's and Q's. You watch where you put your hands, especially
Yeah.
when you have all kinds of people coming up to take pictures.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the spotlight for the wrong reasons. Oh, they touched me.
Yeah. Got to tackle.
No.
That's true. It's rough out there. It's all the social media and all the cameras and it's good and bad. It's got its good and bad.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad they didn't have that when we were growing up, though. I'll tell you, I did not need the extra eyes on me.
yeah. Living in a small town is bad enough. So
Yeah, me too. I know what you
by
mean.
the time by the time you get home, your parents already know.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, it's just all about having fun.
Yeah, it is.
No, until you do something stupid and it's caught on camera. The rising social media and again not knowing who's in your audience. Listening to one of the interviews with this guy Nick Dela Cruz. He interviews sound technicians, front of house, monitor engineers, whatever, um, at these big concerts. And one of the interviews I was watching of his was with the front of house for Creed.
Yeah.
And this guy was talking about that there was somebody that was in the audience at one point that had more followers than the band.
That's crazy. Yeah, that makes sense though. In this day, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, that's the thing about when we were growing up. My kid doesn't want to be a rock star. He wants to be a YouTube star. He does music and he loves Billy Joel and stuff. But I'm trying to get him to see like I'm sure that's nice, to get a bunch of followers on YouTube. That's true. He just yelled from upstairs that he also loves Weird Al Yankovic. He just wants to let you know. He's 12 years old. His name's Winston. He's a good boy.
Hi,
Hi.
Winston.
Hello, Winston. I'm doing an interview with our friends here. Saying anyways, he's a good guy. He's I'm trying to get him more into music, but I understand that, but I also get, I think it's good to have real time interactions with real humans face to face. And I think a crowd concert experience there's nothing like it. There's nothing like great concert crowd experience.
The energy that goes with it is
Yes,
phenomenal.
it is. It's otherworldly. And I can't even imagine the people that get to do that every night, and I'm sure they get jaded. I'm sure they get used to it, but Man, oh man, give me a shot at that because I would really try to enjoy every moment of that.
Oh yeah, I don't know about getting used to it. I mean, if energy is energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
That's true.
So energy is energy. It'd be kind of like getting used to hooking up jumper cables to yourself and you know
You make
getting a jump start. How do you get used to that?
you make a good
It's
point.
energy.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And even now, my level, which is not that high up there, after playing for decades, I still love it as much as I almost love it more now, honestly, because I've stopped worrying so much about the same thing. I used to worry so much about all the little things, or like now it's like I kind of just have a different mindset about it, so it makes it way more enjoyable. Because I didn't realize how many shows I wasn't even enjoying because I was too worried about how many people are there. Did we sound good? Is the guitarist too drunk? Stuff like that. And now it's just like, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And you know, I will tell you this: this is sucking the heck out of my phone's energy. So I don't know, this phone may die. I want you to know.
You need to go plug it in.
Yeah, then I'll be inside, and I don't know how. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I got a little bar. How long do you usually do these guys? How long usually?
Hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours,
Oh wow.
two-part series.
Oh, well, I'd say maybe we can wrap this up in another 20 minutes if you're all right with it, because it'll been an hour, and then I can come back for a part two someday if you want.
No, we definitely have to do a part two because I'm not even halfway down the list.
Oh wow. Well, dang. Nice.
Yeah. We talk. I go through a lot of stuff, and a lot of it does get kind of intriguing to find answers.
Well, good. Give me a saucy one. Give me a spicy one.
What would okay? So, from a business perspective, we tend to have our own mission statements of what we intend on doing with our business, and
Yeah.
music is business.
Yeah.
It's a business. So, with that being said, what is your mission statement for Electric Cult Circus?
I would love to be playing in a different city every night to like we have a venue here called the Newport that all the bigger bands come through. I'd love to be playing to it doesn't even have to be sold out, just a good crowd that we all get paid and we wake up in the morning. I'd love that adventure. That'd be great. It never quite panned out to that yet. I'm always willing to say yet because like I said, you never know what's going to happen. Right now the business plan is to make as much money as we can while also continually playing. But, every city you get into, if you're not already a well established act, if you don't have a corporate funding behind you or a team of people, you're doing it all on your own. Every place you go, you're starting over every place you go. And if you don't have the radio, you don't have all that going. It's like, it's like it's taken us decades to get even somewhere kind of here. And that's rough, man. So this, like Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, he would talk about that. It's like, out of 100 bands, 10 of them are going to get signed, and out of 10 of those bands, you're going to hear of one of them. And it's like it's rough odds out there, and that's just reality. I don't mean that as a downer because I'm still doing it, but you do kind of have to know the reality of things, and everybody wants to be making money. Having said that, there are definitely people out there that are a lot more business savvy than I am, that probably are doing it would be able to answer this question way better for you. I'll go back and look at some of your archives and see. Maybe you've already heard a better answer. Um, but yeah, at this point, it's really just I take it each day as it comes. Some shows we make good money. Some shows we don't make anything. Uh,
And that
and
happens.
that's how it
What
is.
do you
I
What do you
usually
do when you have those shows that you don't make anything?
uh, I go home with my wife and have a drink, and we laugh it off. Everyone,
Cheers.
yeah, exactly. Everyone in the band is pretty much aware. That's why we have a good team currently, because nobody is fighting too hard for anything. They know, we're all a family, I guess, and they say, I'm sure everyone would love to get paid more as much as I would, but I'm generally losing money if that's more common than even not making money, because I end up paying the pesky drummers, because you got to have a beat. And if you're going to have a name like Electric Cult Circus, you got to have a few belly dancers. So these people will not work for free. A guitarist might work for free. A bass player, we just kind of make him work for free. Each, but I pay them when I can. Like what'll happen is they don't get paid for a couple of shows. Then I have a good week, and they get money. And then some shows, it's like, oh, we're all getting paid from this one. Now the show last night we were supposed to do, well, we played it, but found out right before that the grant they were supposed to get to pay everyone didn't come through. So we were like, well, we're already here. Would have been nice to find this out later. So that was not a great gig. It was a bummer. So you're currently catching me on a low wind. Now, if we had played like the show we had a couple months ago that was amazing, you'd be hearing a guy that's a little more positive. But I'll get over
How
it.
was, how was the crowd last night?
Absolutely awful.
The, the whole thing was awful
Yeah,
then.
it was really bad. And it's
Wow.
my fault partly because certain lessons you should learn, and I should at this point I've gotten it, that it's like, yeah, that particular avenue I'm not going to go down anymore for that situation. But I guess I had to see it one more time to really let it sink in. Hey, we got to headline it though. Our name got to be on a flyer that looked like we headlined it.
Nice, right on. Fist bump.
Exactly. So that's and my friends all got to hang out together for a minute in a really sketchy part of town, and we had an okay time. It was it was one of those, man. But yeah.
So, so okay, so we all have people who influence us,
Yeah. Yeah.
both in personal life and music life. As a musician and as a person. So,
Yep.
who are the people that influence you, both as you and as the musician that you are?
Hmm. Well, I mean, what started me off was probably the first musician that really got my goat or whatever. It's probably John Lennon, and then Kurt Cobain, because I thought they were pretty interesting characters that seemed like they weren't just interested in being famous necessarily. They had something to say, and they were, had some political songs, and they seemed to create like a movement. Like they really created a strong scene, because it's not every scene where people start dressing like you and thinking like you, and that's interesting that can happen. But
Mhm.
as I got older, I know it sounds strange, but I really love the Beastie Boys. I think the Beastie Boys were really interesting in how they like changed genres, and they really evolved as artists and people, and they kept a sense of humor about it the whole time. Um, so as musicians, I would say David Bowie has gotten more and more important to me as time goes on. Even like the Grateful Dead. I mean, I'm not a big jam band guy, but I think the Grateful Dead did something really interesting. But I mean, I think the same thing could be said for ICP. I'm not a big fan of them, but I think it's neat that Insane Clown Posse has such a rabid following for what they do, and they're an insular group. It's like their own little. So having that in our name, Electro Cult Circus, I'm a little bit obsessed with the concept of cults, because I think America, in a way, is a giant cult if you think about it. Uh, Everything is kind of a cult. It's like brainwashing, propaganda, and everything
Mhm.
reality. You know what I mean? It's so
Yeah.
we got to really be
Religion,
careful.
politics.
Yep, exactly. Religion's just
That's why.
basically,
That's why I stay out of it all.
yeah, for sure. And you're smart to do so. There is a God, though. I totally believe there is a God. I really do believe that. 100%.
At least one.
Yeah, probably more.
At least.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess when I say God, I mean like a unifying field of energy that is loving and benevolent and connects all things. But within that could be everything from look around you. I mean, look in the ocean.
Mhm.
How much life is just there? That's like, and that's just one planet. Are you kidding me? So yeah,
Yeah. How many other planets are out there? Yeah, it's
yeah, it's insane. It's
yeah.
insane. So that's the stuff so as I've gotten older, um, I'm more into philosophers. I think I'm more into like Carl Jung and stuff like that, and just different people that have really interesting. I've always loved artists because they think of things differently, and so I don't get as bored. There's nothing worse than people that are programmed, propagandized, and when you try to talk to them and their thoughts aren't even their own thoughts. They're not even telling you who they are. They're just regurgitating stuff that other people told them, and it's like, and then they get really upset and they want to fight you over it too. It's like, what are you even fighting me over? Like, you don't even know who you are. Why are you mad about this? It's crazy, you know?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. You get it. You get it. I would have
I
started
do.
talking way earlier, but I just didn't know. Some people don't want to jump into the stuff like this right away. But I'm glad we've gotten here.
Absolutely. Da-da-ba-da-ba-dow.
Hey, when you had your accident, did you have any like anything paranormal happen or anything like? Did you have any? Did you see anything interesting when that happened?
I've seen stuff previously.
Mm.
Um, I've always been a pretty open minded person. There was one night, if you want to talk about paranormal, I was on one of the back highways near town. It was early evening. It was already dark, early in the night, and I had my girlfriend at the time with me. Um, we were just cruising along, and all of a sudden, I see this animal run across the road, and it went from being this animal to this animal, but then
Oh,
she had seen this animal, but then something different, and entirely different,
yeah,
and pretty much a shapeshifter out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, I believe it. The Native
Hmm.
Americans talked about that all. Like Native Americans, that was as they believed in that as much as they believed in a cow. It's like, yeah, of course they're shapeshifters, but what's creepy is how much. I mean, I guess there's a lot of people that still talk about that stuff. Cryptids and things are pretty popular, so it's probably not like a conscious effort, but it just seems like people have lost curiosity for things like that in general. The mass public, not people like you and I, but just if you talk to the regular Joe Schmo down the street, he's not thinking about that, which is a
Hmm.
shame because that's the most interesting stuff. Because if that thing exists, what else exists?
I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
know.
Well, yeah. That's actually the name of our second album. I want to know. I don't want to know. But
Nice.
oh,
Oh.
want to see the real Annabelle Doll on tour. I don't know if I want to see the real Annabelle Doll on tour. In fact, my wife just told me a story where they moved that Annabelle Doll to New Orleans, where I used to live. And guess what happened? The very day that Annabelle Doll got to New Orleans, 11 prisoners escaped, murderers from the prison. And now there's this big alert. If you look up New Orleans right now, it's all about watch out for the prisoners. So that is bad mojo right there. I don't want to. I don't. I'm scared of the Annabelle doll. I, I like those Conjuring movies, though. Is it the Conjuring movies that talk about that couple that used to? Yeah, yeah, right.
I'm not real sure on which movie that would be.
It's a real life couple that used to do. My wife's in there. Hi, Jessica. She's in the band. Ed and Lorraine, or Ed and what is it? Oh, Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they're a famous couple. I think they're dead now, but they're who those movies are based off of. And they're the ones that they first discovered the Annabelle doll. But
Oh.
I probably got time for one more question because I got to go to the dinner place and eat. We,
Okay.
we can do a part two if you want. I've enjoyed this, and then we'll jump right into the weird stuff right away on the second one, if you want, someday.
We can do that. So I'll do this one then.
Yeah.
Um, Is there anything you wish to discuss? Um, so basically, if you had to pull or call out one aspect of the music industry, whether it be the fans, other bands, producers, promoters, managers, recording, you name it, any part of the venues, it doesn't matter. If there's one thing that needs to be said, what would it be? And to who?
Let's stop being so grumpy, sound guys. You guys are making more money than the band. Let's stop being so grumpy, okay? Let's just stop. Too much grumpy. But on top of that, I mean, talk about shapeshifters. I keep bringing up Billy Corgan. I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
a Smashing Pumpkins fan. I think he's sort of a douchebag, but he does say some interesting things. And you should look up the Howard Stern interview he gives, where he talks about he was because he was high up there. I mean, they were one of the biggest bands of the '90s, and he talks about how someone in the record industry shapeshifted right before his very eyes, and it freaked him the heck out. You should look that story up. It's interesting. So that's a little crossover for you. We got rock and roll and paranormal right there. That's how I'll leave
Well,
you. I'll
I
leave you right
love it.
there with that one.
I love it. Now to keep them curious of what part two is going to be like.
Exactly. We'll go right into this stuff if you guys come back. But
And I can't wait for that one.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. We'll message each other and we'll set something up.
For sure, man. And what is your name? I don't even know if I got it.
Ozzy.
Oh, that's right. You told me that in the beginning. Ozzy. There you go. Sure.
Yes.
That's right. And that's your actual name, Ozzy? As much as
That
you
is
want.
my Saint Anger Productions name.
There you go. Ozzy. That's good.
It's neutral, because that's something else I don't get into from business standpoint.
That's
I don't
smart.
do the politics or religion. I don't do gender, sexuality, all that. None of that matters. This is business.
Yeah, you don't want
My
someone to try and sidetrack it. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, my personal beliefs, my personal lifestyle does not and will not affect Saint Anger Productions.
That's good. I,
I'm
I like I like that fair and balanced reporting right there. That's the world needs that again.
absolutely.
Well, all right, man. Ozzy, thank you for chatting with me. We'll set something up again.
No, most definitely. We will, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a part two. It's been Casey from Electro Cult Circus, part one. Um, Tune in. I'll keep you updated on when part two is going to be. We'll get it scheduled and I will let you guys know. And I'm sure Casey will let his followers know as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to get off here, let Casey get his stuff going. And everybody else, you have a beautiful day. I'll be on probably tomorrow to update you on some stuff because, as mentioned earlier, guys, I'm now over 1,000 followers, and I keep my promises that there's stuff I have to announce at 1,000 followers. So I'll probably be on sometime tomorrow to talk to you guys. In the meantime, Casey, thank you again for being on here.
Thank you, and shout out to Mika for the questions and stuff. Thanks for participating. I'll
Oh,
see you soon.
absolutely.
Bye.
Yes. All right. Later.